Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Griffin here, and as always, I hope you're having a great day. So some of you may not be actually aware of this, but last November I bought this car right here, which is a 2021 Tesla Model 3. I was able to survive a Canadian winter, but after about 6 months of ownership now, I just wanted to share my thoughts on the car, what I've liked about it, what I haven't liked about it as much, and then obviously we're going to be running through the financials on what this car costs me on a monthly basis, and also compare it a little bit to a gasoline car. If any of you are new to the channel, my name is Griffin Milks, and on this channel we speak a lot more about investing. So definitely stick around, subscribe to the channel so you can learn how to invest properly before buying a car like this one, which I'll be honest is a pretty decent liability. And for all my regular viewers, I know what you're thinking. What the heck? Why in the world would Griffin buy a car like this one? Doesn't this go against what I speak about on the channel? And yeah, it pretty much does. I'm not going to sit here and deny that, but after just working day in and day out for the past 3.5, 4 years now, working 80-hour weeks, I just wanted to reward myself. So I decided to buy a Tesla, which not only is a really awesome car, as we're going to discover right now in this video, but also, it's great for the environment, and it's one of these cars that we're moving towards electric power in vehicles, and I wanted to be a part of that. All right, so without rambling on any further, like everything else on this channel, we're going to be dissecting the financials also of this car, what it costs me on a monthly basis, what it costs, etc. But let's first start with a couple things that I've actually disliked about the Tesla Model 3 after around 6 months worth of ownership. All right, so the first thing that I've disliked, and by the way, sorry if it's really windy right now, it's literally May in Canada, it just never gets better. Anyways, one thing I disliked about this car, it took about 7 weeks from the date that I ordered it. Now, the actual ordering process online was phenomenal. You don't need to go to a dealership, so that is something that I really liked. However, if you're looking for a car like right now, this took me, about 7 weeks to get from the date that I ordered. There was communication, however, during that entire period with the rep that I was dealing with from Tesla. But then on top of that, I live in Ottawa, and the closest dealership where you can actually pick up cars was in Montreal. So I did have to also travel to Montreal. In the big picture, I mean, whatever, but that is somewhat of a downside. The second thing, I guess, due to the speed of production, there are quite a few panel gaps. It's nothing major. However, if you are really looking for them, you can see them, and they are there. All right, so the second thing that I've disliked about this car is the fact that if you look here on the screen, so the actual distance, obviously there's no gas tank here. So the actual tank, it's not really a tank, but it shows it in kilometers until the end of the charge. So that's something that in theory sounds like a good idea, but it's really inaccurate in terms of the distance in relation to the temperature outside. So in the winter, honestly, it was really bad. I was surprised at how bad the range was in the winter. In the summer, above about 10 degrees Celsius, it is a lot more accurate. However, in the winter, it was really surprising. Like, it would go down 3-4 kilometers, like it's saying here, for every kilometer. So yeah, really inaccurate in the winter months, and as a Canadian, that obviously is a big issue. I have the standard range plus, so it comes with 420, I think, or so kilometers of range. But in the winter, I mean, honestly, it's probably less than 200 from what I could see. We'll look at it later when we price it out. But I realize that now there's another option, which is just a standard range, which comes with 150 kilometers. That would be just like game over in the winter as a Canadian. You'd be able to do a tiny little trip, nothing more than like 75 kilometers I would be comfortable with. All right, so the third thing that I would say I've somewhat disliked about the car, honestly, it hasn't been a big deal for me, but is the fact that this car is rear-wheel drive. So this is the standard range plus, meaning it does have a slightly less horsepower, less range, and also it's rear-wheel drive. So in the winter, that can be obviously more of an issue. I didn't have any issues last winter. I never got stuck or anything. Actually, that's not true. Sophie got stuck once, but it was in our driveway, luckily. It wasn't out and about, but Yeah, so that is one thing though, the standard range plus, okay? So the reason why I got this one though over the other ones, obviously price is a factor, but then also the fact that in Quebec, to get the incentive, which we'll be talking about later when we speak about the financials, the car had to be an MSRP under $60,000. So if you went above the standard range plus, that didn't apply. So not only was the car a lot more expensive, but then also you didn't get the $8,000 incentive. So you're looking at almost like $30,000 difference in the price of the vehicle just for getting a bit more power, a bit more range, and all-wheel drive. And then finally, one thing I find kind of ridiculous, if I'm being honest, is the fact that this car does not come with a spare tire, and on top of it, it doesn't have run flat tires. So if you get a flat tire, you literally need to you need to call Tesla through the app. I've never done it yet, and I'm dreading the day when I'll have to do it. But for a car of this price point, I would expect that they would have at least a spare tire or run flats. There's a couple weird things actually that Tesla did. It also does not come with floor mats in the winter. So I'm just running these all season floor mats right now. They're fine, but I mean, it still cost me like $200. When you're paying 50 grand for a car, you expect them to come with either a spare run flats and also some floor mats, but you know, whatever. All right, let's now speak though about some things that I liked about this car. I do like, and let me tell you, there are many. So the first thing, I personally find the look of the car is fantastic. Now, obviously that is to everyone's opinion, but I personally think it looks really great, and it looks a lot better also in person. It's one of these cars that the paint, it really shines, has a nice like pearlescent look to it. So yeah, I really like the look of the car. The second thing I really like is the drive quality. So when you order a Tesla, it's really weird because most people have never driven the car before actually even buying it. So it's kind of like a gamble, but at this price point, it's kind of in the same range as like a Mercedes, Audi, or BMW, at least in terms of price point. So you're expecting it to be a pretty good drive quality. And I was pretty surprised, honestly, for such quick production time on these things. The drive quality is really good. Also, the build quality feels really sturdy. The interior is nice. The steering wheels feels really high quality, nice materials, and overall it's just, you know, I have driven a Mercedes, and actually, yeah, I've driven Mercedes, BMWs, and Porsches, but yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this. Honestly, it just has a nice feel, and the white interior, in my opinion, was an absolute must. Makes this car really stand out and feel like a spaceship, like a Tesla should. All right, the next thing that I absolutely love about this car is the performance. Even the standard range plus, which the numbers on paper do not seem that impressive. I think it's 0 to 100 in 5.6 seconds, but this car feels so much faster than this. It is probably the fastest car I've ever driven, especially when you're going already about 30-40 kilometers per hour and you floor it. It's unreal. You give the passenger a heart attack every time. And I'm not saying I'm speeding or anything, but yeah, it's really fun. It's fun to drive, quick around the city, and it just has that linear acceleration because it's an electric vehicle. So you get 100% of the power and the torque right away when you floor it. It's a really fun experience, and is one of the reasons why I really like the whole electric vehicle side of this car. And I probably don't see myself buying another gas car later on unless it's maybe something really special, but as a daily car, yeah, electric vehicle is the way to go in my opinion. They do need to, however, work on the battery longevity in the winter. That definitely is a problem for Canadians. The next thing I love about this car is, we sort of touched upon it, but the simplicity of the interior. So this car only has this one screen up top, and you might think like that this would be difficult to navigate, but it's just so simple. Everything is presented really nicely. You get a hang of it within a day or so, and now when I hop into another vehicle, it's just, you realize how the design is just really well thought out, and the simplicity of the interior of this design really makes you realize that all those buttons are pretty much unnecessary. Another thing that's awesome is the fact that right here, this has wireless charging. So sometimes it takes a little bit, there you go. It is wireless charging. So you're literally driving around and you have wireless charging for your phone. It's just really great. All in all, I love the interior of this car. Also, the whole top is glass, which is pretty nuts. Like, actually, I forget it's glass sometimes because as a driver, you never really realize. But yeah, it's all glass, which is pretty cool. All right, the next thing I really like about this is the actual phone application being the key for the car. And not only is it the key, but you also have so many more features. Right now we're looking at basically climate control from a distance. So in the winter, you can heat the car in advance or cool it off in the summer. There's a whole bunch of other really awesome things as well. You can set the maximum charge. You can unlock the charge port, changing the speed it's actually going, which is pretty cool. And even open the front trunk, everything from the app. It's really great. Next up, even if you don't get the full self-driving for the added cost, you also get auto steer and accelerate, which is still pretty cool. It'll stay in a lane. And then finally, one of my favorite features is just straight up the fact that it is electric. So you never have to go to a gas station anymore. That is an absolute game changer. Now you're seeing here, that is the home charging platform essentially, and that is an extra cost. Now it does come with a travel charger that it really charges slowly though. So I would highly recommend that you get this one. Alright, so now that we've quickly gone over the car's features, what would this video be on my channel if we didn't dig into the financials? So let's do that right now. Alright, so here we are on Tesla Canada's website. So we're going to go and look at the price point in real time here. So Tesla Model 3, 3.3 seconds. Yeah, that's not what I got. This is the performance version. So let's just skip right to order now, right here. You can check out all the details if you want on your own time. So the Tesla Model 3, all right, standard range plus, that is the one that I got. It looks exactly like this. I mean, you saw the clips of it earlier. There are two other versions, long range and performance. So like I was saying earlier though, these are not only significantly more at the actual sticker price level, but then also because of the actual price point of the car, which is above $60,000, they were not eligible for the Quebec EV rebate. I kind of find that ridiculous because at the end of the day, what does it matter what the price of the car is if you're buying an electric vehicle and helping towards this program? But anyways, that's how they have it. So the only one that was eligible was the standard range plus, at least for me at the time. Now this right here, limit to 151 kilometer range, that was not available for me. They call it the standard range. It must be newer, but for an extra, what would that be? Like $7,000 extra. To me, that is absolutely not worth it. Reason being, like I said, 151 kilometer estimated range. In the winter, you're looking at probably like 70 kilometers in anything more than, or less I should say, than -10. So anyway, standard range plus, 52,990 base price. I went with white paint, which that's what I wanted anyways, and it turned out to be included. The other price, or the other paints have an added price point. I do like this one, I'll be honest, but anyways, for me, I was just gonna go with white. And the same thing for the wheels. I didn't upgrade or anything here. I like the Aero wheels anyways, and these are just hubcaps that can be removed. So they have alloy rims under them that do look pretty sporty if that's what you're into. Now the actual interior though, I did go with white as you saw, and I don't regret it, honestly. It really gives it a wow factor, and it's one of my favorite features of this car that makes it really different from any other car that I've been in. Moving forward, full self-driving capability, $10,600. Of course not. I'm not spending 10 grand on that, even though it's pretty cool. It's something that I think is more just for showing off at this point, at least. In Canada, you can't even put it in full self-drive, like you're not actually allowed anyways. So it is pretty cool, and if you have the disposable income, then why not? Summon, that's pretty cool, auto park. But yeah, no, this is not something that I added. And so there you go, that's it. It's really simple to order a Tesla. You just go through those three features, essentially: interior color, outside color, and the model that you want. And then you go to continue payment. So right now they're saying it's an estimated delivery of 6 to 9 weeks. So that is semi-long, but like I said, there's an account manager the entire time, about on a weekly to bi-weekly basis. They give you updates on the car and all of that. All right, but with the configuration of the car out of the way, let's take a look at the price. So down here, purchase price of $54,290. I mean, that's expensive for a car by any means, and this is not something that I would have splurged on had there not been, once again, those incentives, right? If you pay for cash, you're getting the federal incentive in Canada, $5,000. All right, so just under 50,000, but still, you're looking at 50 grand for a car. That's pretty expensive, all right? The estimated 6-year gas savings, I mean, that's kind of bogus because at the end of the day, they're just estimating gas price. That's not something that you can take as a hard, concrete fixed savings. What you can, however, take as a concrete fixed saving is the Quebec EV rebate at $8,000. So if you think of it here, if you're a Quebec resident, you're looking at 8 plus 5, you're looking at $13,000 off the sticker price of the car. That's actually pretty significant, right? So you're looking at a car of around $42,000 at this point. Still really expensive, but that's pretty much the price of a fully loaded Camry. Like, honestly, that is the price. Now let's actually quickly look though, change delivery province, right? So this is for a Quebec resident. Let's say you are from Ontario. Not sure why this isn't working. Here we go. Ontario resident, well, the actual provincial savings will be different. In this case, it kind of actually doesn't even look like there is any, which is kind of really unfortunate. I know some of the other provinces, though, have their own incentives, so definitely apply this to where you live. Alberta kind of looks like there isn't anything either. Now, moving on though, I actually took a lease on this car, which might surprise many because it's a lease, right? You're not building any equity in the car or whatnot, but I did have 3 main reasons for that, all right? The first reason being that I had never sat in a Tesla. Literally, I bought a car that I had never sat in, never drove, never even really seen up close in person. So that was one of the first things. I didn't want to just own this car outright. The second main thing is that this is a battery powered car, and my logic behind it was that 4 years ago, okay, the battery that was in the Model S at the time was significantly worse than the battery now. This is basically a piece of tech, so every year it's getting exponentially better. And my logic behind it was that in 2, 3, 4 years, what are the batteries going to look like then, right? I'm not going to want to actually have a car. I'll just get a brand new car that'll have probably a range of like 2,000 kilometers. Who knows? And then finally, the main reason really that I got a lease is just because my accountant told me that based on my current situation with my businesses and all that, this made the most fiscal sense. So I'm not going to dig into that today, but that was the main reason why I did get a lease on this car. And now looking at this, I put the down payment. So at the time, you had to put a deposit of $2,500 right at the moment of purchase. So that was kind of like a sunk, not a sunk cost, but basically a payment that I had already put on the car, and then I put an extra like 8,000 down essentially. So I put 10,500 down on the car, and my logic behind this was typically with a lease you don't put a down payment because you're paying the same amount over the term of the lease. It's just that if you put a down payment, your monthly payments will be less. In this case though, because I had $8,000 incentive from Quebec, once again it was a cost I already had to pay up front, and then they just reimbursed me. So I just basically put all that money down, and here it's saying $486 a month, but for me it is $507 a month. So after all of this is taken into account, my monthly payments on this car amount to $507 on a 4-year term. The monthly insurance rate for me on this car is $150 with Intact Financial, and I'm sure for many viewers here, you can get an even cheaper monthly rate. I'm just a 24-year-old guy that definitely plays against me in terms of insurance policy rates. And then one of the main questions that a lot of people have regarding electric vehicles is how much does it cost to actually charge the car on a monthly basis? So to answer that question, let's actually dive into Hydro-Quebec's platform, which is basically my electricity monthly provider, the utility provider essentially. All right, yeah, so just really quickly here, this is essentially the consumption profile at the property where I charge the Tesla in. So you can see here there are spikes basically in consumption, and pretty much when you see a spike, that is because I charged the car and plugged it in. So I don't actually plug it in every day. I plug it in once every, say, 3-4 days, because the wall charger actually has or it charges at around 50 kilometers per hour. So it's a pretty quick charge, and I don't need to plug it in every day. Now on an average of let's say during this period, how much was it? February, March, April. That's okay. So that's a 2-month period, and it was $125, including charging my car. So I would say charging the car is probably $20 to $30 per month essentially. Alright, so that pretty much wraps it up for today's video covering my thoughts on the Tesla Model 3 after 6 months of ownership in Canada. Honestly, really fantastic car. If you're on the fence about it, I would definitely recommend that you check into it further, and hopefully this video helped you out slightly at least. In Canada, I would say the main issue really is just the range in the winter. So if that's going to be a problem for you, then probably stay clear of electric vehicles in general, however. But yeah, the actual Tesla Model 3, I thoroughly enjoy it, and so does my girlfriend. With that said, thanks a lot for watching today's video. Make sure to smash the like button if it helped you out, and also subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified of all my investing content. That's pretty much what we speak about on this channel: investing in the stock market, investing in real estate, as well as other business topics. Now, also, if you want to start investing in the stock market and you're new, make sure to check out the link down below where you can open up a Wealthsimple trade account, and you will get $25 for free when you sign up and fund the account with an initial $100 deposit. So on that note, thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.